These are the most insane LEGO engineering experiments I've done. From testing LEGO bridges with weighted cars, to seeing if Technic sets can actually do real construction. Starting out by testing houses on a working LEGO earthquake simulator. Today, I'm gonna build 5 LEGO houses using different techniques, and then we're gonna test each one against the LEGO earthquake simulator to see which building technique is superior. Starting with a brick house. For this one, we're basically just gonna build it up all the way using masonry bricks. The oldest brick houses were constructed as early as 7000 BC, so I'm just gonna start by laying down the foundation. And then I'm just gonna pop in a single door at the front and a window frame on the side right here. And then what I'm actually doing with each of these layers of brick is overlapping them by one stud to create what's called a running bond pattern. And what that'll hopefully do is make it just a little bit stronger so it can withstand our earthquake test. Since we're gonna be testing each of these on an earthquake simulator, which is essentially just a platform that can move back and forth at high speeds to simulate the vibration of an earthquake. So to start, I built up a simple prototype with some flexible pillars as springs to allow it to shake. All right, test 1, here we go. So it's shaking. The springs are holding up perfectly, doing their job, but it's not very strong. So I think we're gonna have to replace these guys with a stronger motor. So I'm gonna borrow this hand mixer from my wife, and the nice thing about this is it actually has speed control up top, so it has like 7 or 8 levels of speed. Check it out, guys. On the very inside of this piece, it is the perfect size to allow a Lego axle to fit right in there snugly. So this thing, if we mount it upside down, should be able to power our earthquake simulator flawlessly. All right, Mark II. As you can see, we've taken apart our hand mixer and turned it into this. As you can see, we just have a single cam going across here, and when we push our button, this will push and pull our plate. Whoa, chill. I just have to really strengthen this up and lock it together so that nothing falls apart and breaks. So now I just gotta cover up the base of this and lock it all together so it's super strong, and we'll be ready to test this thing out and see how it works. Let me introduce to you the Earthquake Simulator V1. This is actually pretty cool. I'm calling it V1 because we may do a video in the future where it's a little bit bigger and we test taller things. Bet you can't guess what those are. As you can see here, we have the center table, and this is where you put the base plate, and then on top of that, you put on these little clips to actually lock it into place. Then if you come over here, we have our little keypad, and this allows us to control the speed with these little buttons here, and we can turn it on and off like that. The thing is, it is a little wobbly because there's a lot of weight moving back and forth, so I try to keep my hand on this side, but other than that, it works phenomenally. As long as I don't touch any of the electronics because it is plugged into the wall. Don't do this at home, by the way. All right, guys, here we have the first brick house. As you can see, I've interlocked all of the bricks on this, and on the interior, I just added some simple furniture. We got a little table with some bread on it. We got a nightstand, a dresser, and then we have a bed and a little fireplace. So we're gonna put the roof on this guy and see how it performs. The cool thing about this earthquake simulator is we can actually clip in each one of our house plates with just a few of these little pieces. And these are just brackets and slopes, and they help it to actually hold down the base plate. And this thing can actually do up to 10 levels, and it gets pretty intense. So let's see if it survives level 1. On. Oh. Remember those clips I just mentioned? Yeah, those didn't work very well. All right, we fixed it. Here we go. It's shaking. Oh no! Oh look, all the furniture's still there. Wow, guys, check it out. Our building stayed in one piece. Now, I actually kind of thought that would happen because we interlocked all the pieces. So to test if that's why it worked so well, I built a duplicate version. And on this one, as you can see here, I didn't interlock any of the walls. So these are literally just stacks of 1x2 bricks. So we're gonna see if this holds up any less than the one that isn't just stacked. And put this guy here. Let's see how this works. Here we go. Okay, so now we know that if you interlock your bricks, it becomes a lot stronger. As you can see, the difference in the results is a little hard to miss. So I gotta give this house a 10 out of 10. It didn't really stick down to the base very well, but that's just because it's pretty small and it only has walls that are 1 stud deep. And then for the second house where we didn't stack the bricks, 0 out of 10. That didn't work at all. Let's build the next one. For this next one, I want to build a glass house. And I think I'm going to build this one in units of 6. The reason for that is that I have a bunch of these Lego glass panels, which are, just whip out the stud measure here, 6 studs long. See, look how useful this is. So what I'm going to do is get a bunch of plates and lay out the foundation for it and just make sure that each dimension is divisible by 6. For example, this is 32, and 6 goes in 32 5 times, which is 30. So I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller than the actual base plate. Now that we got our base, I'm gonna add the first layer of glass panels, and I'm also gonna add a door to this glass house because otherwise we won't be able to get in. On the bright side, we won't have to add any windows to this. The nice thing is we also have these tiny windows, which are 2 studs wide. We'll take these and put them right in here to fill that gap. Now, I'm just gonna finish off this first layer, and then I'm also gonna add some simple, clear furniture, like a couch. I think a bed would be cool to add, just using a couple bricks and a few of those little panel pieces. And maybe a nightstand and dresser as well, and a little lamp. All right, now that we have the first layer done, I need to figure out a way to build a second layer. I think for the roof, I'm gonna use plates at the very top. So that's okay, those don't need to be clear. But for this layer, I actually wanna come out a little bit right here and create a bit of an overhang. So what I might just end up doing is taking a few of these longer bricks and overlapping like this, and kind of just building out a fake box over the terrace. Then we'll add the second layer and throw on the roof. And then if we just snap on a few of these longer clear bricks, we should be able to hold this guy on so it doesn't just fall right over. All I gotta do is just finish building up this next layer with another layer of glass pieces, and I'm gonna overlap them by 1 stud. That way hopefully it'll be a bit stronger. Okay, now for the roof, I'm gonna use gray plates. We're gonna stick those on there. For the last and final step here, I'm just gonna take this little pillar of bricks and throw it in here to kind of hold up this terrace. Just like that. There we go. That is a good looking glass house. And my favorite part is you can actually see on the inside. For the roof, I kind of changed my mind. I don't want to use plates because I just had this idea. I'm just gonna build up a glass roof out of a bunch of these 1x6 panels, and that way we can actually see on the inside, so forget the plates. This is the beautiful but fragile glass house. We have a chimney right here at the front, which I built using a bracket like that. You see the interior is also fully furnished with clear furniture that's made of glass, and I actually think this one might hold up pretty well because these panels are locked together. Sort of, so we'll see. That's why we're here, we're gonna test it out. And for this one, I'm actually going to use some rubber bands around the edges to hopefully make it stay on just a little bit better because these things keep falling off and it's really annoying. This should keep the base plate on good enough. We're gonna put this on level 4 and see how well it does here. I'm a little scared, so I think I need some eye protection because this is dangerous. All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. Well, we broke the simulator again. But as you can see, we lost a lot of the glass house here. That did not go over very well. Oh no. So we actually ended up snapping the beam that goes in here. As you can see, we completely broke off the bottom of it because I guess it was just too much pressure. There's a little chunk of our red lift arm at the bottom there. Well, I'll have to fix this, but this actually is holding up pretty good for a glass house. What's funny is on this one, the thing that's actually breaking isn't even the house. It's the thing that's shaking the house back and forth. So I'm gonna fix that one more time, and we'll give it one more test before we determine the score here. Okay, so I've locked it together again with a new lift arm, and hopefully it won't break. Here we go, let's see how this house does. Wow, that's really, really impressive. We only lost the overhang on the front, actually. The rest of the house seems to be unmoving. This is level 1. Level 2. Level 3. Oh. We're losing part of it. Level 4. Level 5. When you finally find all the weak points and it actually works the way it's supposed to. Okay, wow. Well, this is all of the house that's left. We still have the chairs and part of the dining table. I'm gonna say this one was pretty good. We got it up to level 5 before it really fell apart. So I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10 because it really did hold together pretty well. Wow, that's crazy. For some reason, when I was boosting up the power, it was still going just as strong. This thing works so well. Don't look at that. Let's build the next one. For this next build, I'm gonna make a cottage. The cottage is a rustic home design that originated in medieval England during the Middle Ages in around 500 AD. And my plan is actually to build it using a bunch of arches. That way we can test it to kind of see if that technique will actually stand up against the earthquake. If we take a few of these guys with some pre-built pillars, we're just gonna kind of build up a square frame for this and see if we can kind of connect it together in the middle to be stronger. But we need to make sure these are at an even number apart. So this is 20 studs, that's about fine. You guys are probably wondering, what's that cool Lego tape measure he's been using? This is called stud measure. The tape measure for Lego builders lets you measure and plan your creations with ease. Its flexible 2-sided tape can measure in both bricks and studs. And this thing can actually snap down into your base plate in between studs, so you can measure bricks, or it can snap down like this, so you can measure studs. And it's super accurate. With a maximum measuring distance of up to 190 studs, or on the flip side, 158 bricks high. That's higher than the tallest Lego set. An extremely useful tool for LEGO builders and enthusiasts. It took me nearly 2 years to develop. If you want to get one for yourself, click the link down in the description or go to studmeasure.shop. These things are pretty cool. I got a feeling they're going fast, but we got more on the way, so get yours now. Back to the video. This is looking pretty sturdy, and we're gonna lock it together even more. But first, we gotta fill in the areas between the wood with brick, and then a few detail pieces, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. I'm even doing a special technique where I use different shades of white because either they got dirty or like stained from the sun. And I'm actually utilizing that as a trick to add more detail into my walls, as you can see here, as well as some like little hay bricks and some snot bricks, which I'm gonna add some vines to. Now I just gotta finish locking together this layer, add some furniture to the inside, and then we'll add a roof to this to finish it and make it look like a cottage. Before we add the roof though, I'm gonna add some little 1x2 slopes to each of these panels on the front and back. That way we can actually angle it like a cottage roof. For my cottage, since we have sort of this interesting half hexagon shape going up top here, I'm gonna make a 3-sided roof. So for that, we just need to lay out 3 layers of plates that are 18 by 8. We can just lock these plates together with more plates. And now what I'm gonna do to actually hinge this roof is on the middle section, I'm gonna add some hinges, which are these little guys here. And that will allow us to actually bend the pieces of the roof, just like this. And now, when we put this on here, that should fit just like that. Perfect. So we just add a few more of those, and then you can lock it all together. And there we have a 3-sided roof. Now this guy should just slot perfectly on top of this. No, that's actually perfect. Look at that, we have a little cottage. Now I'm just gonna add a few more details to this, like a few bricks on the front. I wanna add some simple furniture on the inside, and then maybe just make the roof a little bit darker. But then we can test this out and see how well it holds up. All right guys, up next we have our cottage. As you can see, this one actually looks pretty cool on the inside. I detailed the interior. Pop these on here. Throw our roof back on, and we're good to go. All right, here we go. Add our clips. Okay, so the purpose of this one is to actually test if the wooden frames will make any difference in the stability of this. All right, we're gonna go straight to level 3. Here we go. I'm gonna pop it on in 3, 2, 1, see what happens. Oh gosh. The house got completely destroyed on this one. None of the walls stayed together, so, well, except for this one kind of did. The front wall stayed together, but none of them stayed together in connection with the wooden frame, which is kind of disappointing. But again, for some reason, all the furniture is still down, which is just really impressive. Let's get a quick action replay on that if we can get a slow enough frame rate. I gotta give this one a 3 out of 10. The only reason I'm not giving it a 0 is because the front wall stayed together, and then basically all the sections individually did, but the house fell apart. So by standards of actually living in it and surviving, I would not build your house like a cottage to withstand an earthquake. The next house we're gonna build is a tree house. We're gonna start by building the tree that's gonna hold the house up. For the base of the tree, we're gonna make it a pretty thick tree. So we're gonna use 2x4 bricks and build up a square that's about 4 bricks tall. And then we're gonna take some of these slopes and kind of round it out to make it look like a tree. So for that, it's all about just kind of creating roots, having them kind of branch off in different directions by putting slopes around it. Just like that. So just keep building up bricks and slopes until you have a nice tree trunk shape. And then I just added a few of these round 4x4 Technic bricks. So what we can actually do is take some Technic pins like this and stick those in a few of these to create some branches that kind of branch off to hold the tree up. Then we take some of these 2x2 round pieces, we can actually snap them right onto there. And that gives us a nice base to build up some branches. For those, we can just use a few of these slopes, and again, just create some little natural shapes. With each of these builds, I'm literally just making it up as I go. I just kind of look at the shape and think, okay, what would an actual treehouse have? And then I build it. Now, I'm gonna take our plate like this, and that will be the base for our treehouse. And now we need to work on the walls for our treehouse. As you can see here, I've added some walls to the outside using these cool little 1x2 round log bricks. So those are kind of cool. I added some windows. So I'm just gonna snap this right on the middle here, and then we're gonna take this guy, which is essentially a ladder. We're gonna put this right here in front of the door. Now that we've got our treehouse actually built up, we just need to add a roof and a lot of foliage to make this look like a tree. We can actually do this quite simply by just building the roof on top of this 16x16 plate. And lucky for me, I've already created this little canopy here in my last video, which is made out of little leaf pieces, and what I did is essentially just took them. Instead of just connecting them like you normally would, like so, you actually interlock them in a circle like this. So if we take this and we put a little pillar on top of that, and then we can put this guy right on here like so. And there we have the start of our treehouse. Well, it's looking a little bald, so we're gonna need a lot more leaves. All right, there we have our finished treehouse. Let's test this guy out. This is a beautiful treehouse, if I do say so myself. You can see we have a removable roof so that we can see the interior, which is fully designed with 2 pieces of furniture. But you see we have a couple containers. It's supposed to be designed kind of like a kid's treehouse. We got a little work table. I will bet that this will not hold up even level 1. So I'm just gonna start it on level 9 and then we'll just see how it goes. But first, we need to lock it in with some rubber bands here. This thing goes all the way up to level 9. So all I have to do is push this button, and we'll be ready to go here. All right guys, here we go, Lego treehouse. In 3, 2, 1. I don't know what I really expected, but none of it stayed together. Not a single piece, except for this entire thing. See, look how great this, 0 out of 10. Actually, negative 10. This was horrible. On the bright side, our earthquake machine's still working. Ooh, yeah, so we're gonna have to rebuild that. Okay, let's build the next one. The next house I wanna test is actually a nuclear bunker. And the reason I wanna build this one is because I'm gonna try and design something that's earthquake proof, or nuclear proof, using Technic and stuff to reinforce the walls. So I'm gonna put everything that I think would make it earthquake proof into it, and hopefully it'll work. The first thing I wanna do is go all the way around the outside with Technic bricks. And this will be the first layer. And the reason for that is so that we can lock all the layers of the walls together using Technic lift arms. Now that we have a first layer of Technic down, what we can do is actually take some lift arms, like these little guys, and snap them inside of the bricks, just like so. And then every 4 bricks up from that pin, we can actually put our little Technic brick here with another pin and lock our wall together. So this guy, except for attaching to the base plate, is really sturdy. Like, you cannot pull this apart. And I think if we do that all the way around on all the walls, that'll make it super duper strong. So I just finished adding the Technic to the walls, and as you can see, it looks pretty sick. You can see I also had to add some on the outside on the front here, which not only makes it look pretty cool, but also leaves room for us to add a sliding door. And I want to build one of those that's mechanical using gears. Then if we just add a few guys to that, we can build up a set of double doors with some gear racks on top, and actually put in a little gear through this top Technic brick. And just like that, we can actually utilize these gears to open and close the door, which looks really, really cool. Now that we got the doors, I'm gonna add one more layer inside of this to actually make it 2-story, and then add some details like furniture and stairs to make it look like an actual nuclear shelter. This is looking pretty cool so far. Now as you can see on the inside of this, we've got some pretty cool details. We have a little armor rack on the upper floor here, and I just built that using some 8x8 grill plates. A little ladder that leads up to the second floor. And then if we turn around here, we have a few cots, the gear mechanism for the door, which still looks really cool, and a little table and bench. Now I just gotta add details to the outside and build the roof. And for this part, I really just wanna take a bunch of these guys, which are 2x2 dark bluish gray bricks, and build up some sort of cool structure on the outside. And this is really just supposed to make it look reinforced. Once we add all that, we'll be good to go and we can test this thing out, but it is pretty strong. All right guys, we have our bunker, as you can see. So for this one, I'm gonna put a GoPro on the inside and we're gonna test and see how well everything stays together here. Put this on. All right, here we go. We got our cameras rolling, we got our GoPro on the inside, and I also added a few little light bricks on the inside just so we can actually see. In 3, 2, 1. This thing is pretty heavy, that's for sure. Our earthquake table is not happy. Oh. No, we broke another lift arm. No. What a bummer. Because now we can't even. That's it, guys. That's as far as we could go with this. But this fallout shelter actually lasted better than any of the other ones. And if we open it up, let's see how the interior fared. As you can see, we lost a door, but everything else is pretty much intact, except for this table that moved. The walls really held together well. I mean, I did use Technic to certify all of them, but literally, the only thing that broke off was the detail I put on the outside. So this, I'd say, is a 10 out of 10. It held together really well. Today, I'm gonna build 5 Lego bridges using different techniques to see which one can hold up the best against weighted Lego cars. But first, let's see how much weight Lego can hold before it breaks. Starting with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20, 25, are you kidding? 30 pounds, 35 pounds. I'm all out of weights. As you can see, Lego can hold up a lot of weight. So we're gonna build up some Lego bridges. Starting with the most basic bridge design, an arch bridge. It literally just has an arch, but ours is gonna need to be pretty long because we have a 4-foot pool of water we're gonna be driving these vehicles over. Now that we got a solid foundation, we can start building the arch. We're gonna build this in 2 halves. So what I'm gonna do is just grab a brick and go out 1 stud. And then we can go maybe 2 out. As long as we just increase the number, we can get an arch going. I'm just gonna keep building and hopefully we'll get something strong enough to drive the cars over. As you can see, we're getting some headway here. Now we're overlapping on this side by 3 studs, and pretty soon I'm just gonna do a band that goes across, so the arch will just be on the sides. The science behind this is actually super unique. Every layer you go down, it divides the weight into the layers below it. So any pressure up top is divided all the way down. Kind of similar to how a heavy object becomes lighter when you have a friend to move it with you. If we build it like this, it'll be really strong. So now I just gotta build 1 more of these and we connect it with a road up top and test it out. Okay, so we have the bottom part of the arch bridge. Then I'm just gonna take the top of this bridge and snap it down on top of here. Then we just gotta gently push this down on the edges here. That should snap in. So here we have the first bridge, the arch bridge, all set up. I have the Lego Corvette as the first car of the video, and I've done 2 things. First, I've built this little adapter for the top here. And that's gonna allow us to put different weights on the car so we can see how much weight each one of these bridges can handle. And then the second thing is I've built up this winch system using a Lego motor and a worm gear, and that will actually pull it across. So if we attach our little clip there, we gotta get our U-block crash test dummy inside the vehicle. If we just crush just a little bit like that. All right, here we go, let's test. I'm gonna turn this on, flick the switch, and we're gonna see if it can pull it across. Oh my gosh, this is nerve-wracking. Is it gonna move? It's going, it's moving. Oh, I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous. It has to make it all the way across for it to count. All right, we made it all the way across. Let's up it to 10 pounds. Okay, it's moving. Oh no, I don't think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna crash right when it gets to the middle. Steer it back. Okay, 10 pounds in the middle of the bridge. Both wheels are not happy right now. They are not rolling under that weight. Dude, this little winch is working perfectly. It has pulled 10 pounds successfully across this bridge. The arch bridge is a complete success. As you can see, our U-block guy, he's totally fine. So let's build up the next bridge and test the next car. For the next bridge, I want to build a Tensegrity bridge, which has never been done before because it's super unsafe and wouldn't work in real life, but it might work in Lego. So the first thing we gotta do is build up a road, and then we'll build a Tensegrity part underneath it. All right, so now that we got the road for the second bridge done, it looks a lot like the road for the first bridge, but now we're gonna build the Tensegrity things that are gonna actually hold this up. If you're not familiar with the term Tensegrity, it's this concept where you have 2 platforms and 3 ropes, and they link together in such a way where it looks like the top platform is floating. So I'm thinking, we build a Tensegrity on each side of the bridge, so it'll technically be floating and possibly wobbly. So we're gonna start with a base plate for the bottom. So let's build a quick base on top of this. And I'm gonna attach some Technic bricks right here, separated by a couple of plates, and that way we can put the hook in. Put 2 plates and then another Technic brick, and now this should stand up straight. Nice. We just gotta build this thing up to be a little taller and then go out in this direction. So now that we have this first hook, we just need to make another one that we will invert and put upside down. Then we'll build up a simple base on top using plates and link together the whole thing with ropes. Now that we got this, we just need to tie it together with ropes here and then on every corner. And theoretically, this top part, that was legitimate, I'm so tired. Theoretically, this top part will float. So I've cut all these ropes, and these just slide onto here. So if we hang this top part by these 4 ropes, as you can see, it doesn't float. That's not how it works. So what we actually have to do is take this rope here and tie it onto that. And then once we do that, as you can see, there we have our floating Tensegrity. Look, it's completely floating. Like, just check that out. You could float it, that's so cool. And my thought is we could just put each side of the bridge on top of that, like that. We gotta make these arms a little stronger, but that is super promising. Now just build 1 more of these and we'll put it on each side of the bridge. I have absolutely no faith in this bridge, but we're gonna take our top and just put it right on top of here. It's falling apart already, guys. This is the wobbliest bridge ever. So here it is, we have our Tensegrity bridge. I have no idea how this is gonna work. I'm not gonna put any weight on this one because I don't even think the car will make it across. But we'll grab U-block, we'll put him in the passenger side. He doesn't fit perfectly inside the cars, but he fits well enough to test. And then we'll take our hook like that. Will a bridge made of Tensegrity actually work? Here we go. All right, it's moving. The weight is holding. As you can see, this is held up entirely by Tensegrity. Wow. I think it's actually gonna work. No way. We made it to the other side. We're gonna try 2.5 pounds. Oh no. This is so nerve-wracking, seriously. Gotta turn the wheels so it doesn't steer off. It's right in the middle, dude. This is crazy. Now I'm curious, can we add 5 pounds right here? 5 pounds. Oh, it's gone. You know, the actual bridge part held together a lot better than I was expecting. As you can see, we have our Tensegrity. It didn't actually break, it just came loose. We got Ooblat in the water here. How'd he do? What? Apparently Lego cars float, everybody. On to the next bridge. So the next bridge I want to build is called a truss bridge. And the cool thing about this bridge is all of the structure is on top of the bridge. So there's really nothing under it to keep it from falling down. And the way it accomplishes that is by using triangles. For example, you can see here if I build 2 shapes, on the square, all of these points can actually hinge. So when you put pressure on it, it collapses. But on the triangle, none of these points can move around. So as soon as you apply any pressure on it, it is extremely sturdy from any angle. So for the truss bridge, we're gonna combine a bunch of these all the way down, which will turn our floppy bridge into a sturdy structure. So first I'm just gonna build up a quick road for this, and then we'll attach the trusses to the sides. I always like to start these off the same way, just a bunch of 16 by 16 plates, which I can lock together with tiles. You have no idea how loud it is when I just have to build all these bridges. So we got our 2 bridge pieces, and now, as you can see, it's very floppy. So I'm gonna line this with 2 layers of Technic bricks, and then I'll add some to the sides as well so we can attach the trusses. And then as you can see, what it's doing is it's just coming up right there. So the whole point of using these is we need to connect them. So what I like to do, just grab some of these 3 long pins, and then since we're already connected to the plates, I just like to push it through from the outside. Sometimes I use my hammer. And you just gotta make sure you put 4 in each brick so that it has 2 points of connection on each thing. You just gotta do this all the way down. So now we need to integrate these Technic bricks onto the sides here. And while we could just do that, and probably should because it'd be easier, I wanna cover up all these colored things. So I'm gonna use some bricks. And then we'll sandwich our Technic brick like that. And that'll give us a way to attach the trusses inside there, which should make it pretty strong. So now we got our bridge built up. And as you can see, it is very wobbly. Let's build up some trusses. So we're gonna take 2 of these. We're just gonna connect each end like this. And now we have our triangle structure. The bottom part of this is gonna snap right into the bridge. As you can see, the rest of this is bending a lot, and this part is just totally not. So now we just continue this technique all the way down on both sides, and I think that'll really make this strong. Check that out. You can see here on the top layer, I'm just adding a single lift arm, or a couple that are lashed together, to lock everything together. All right, check us out. That is a flat bridge, and that is looking really strong. Look at that. This one I'm super hopeful for. It's like the strongest one I've built so far. For this bridge, we have the red pickup truck. We're gonna put it right here, and then I just built this little thing into the bed so we could put our weights on top. I think he'll actually fit in here, you guys. Oh, no, there's a giant door mechanism in the way. Well, we can get half of Ooblat in there. I'm pretty confident in this one, so I'm gonna start it at 10 pounds. Here we go. The truss bridge is such a cool technique. Oh, it's moving. Will it make it across? The only thing I'm a little worried about is the plates on the bottom, because they're 16 by 16 plates. That's the only weak spot. I think the sides will stay together. I love Ooblat in there. Just chilling. Here he goes. It's in the middle of the bridge. Oh, it's kind of bending right here. Something's about to snap. Oh no. Oh no. No. The trusses have come off the side, but oh, did we break the winch? No, it just came off. Oh man, I'm gonna call that a fail. There's no way that the car was getting across after that, so. Hey, but honestly, 10 pounds took it to the very middle of the bridge, and you can see, I was just about to say, you can see the triangles haven't broken, but check out the damage. Ooblat's good.
Half the man he used to be.
Yeah, you can see the plates and the tiles just snapped here, and then these came off the sides, but it worked pretty well. So that's a truss bridge for you. The next one though is gonna actually use motors to work, so let's check out that one. So the next bridge I wanna build is a drawbridge, which is basically just a bridge that opens up, that way ships can go underneath it. So I think I'm gonna repurpose our winch system and build a couple more of these for each side. So we'll basically have a base with a large tower that comes up, and then we'll have a rope attached to that that'll actually bring up the other side of the bridge. I'm kinda unsure how we're gonna make this hold up the weight in the middle, so let's start by building a base. Guys, big brain move. So there's gonna be so much weight on the center of the bridge, and we don't want it to collapse since it's not attached. We're gonna put weights on the edges to kind of counterweight it. So we'll build like 10 pounds in each side of this, and that should at least give it a good chance. And to make the bridge actually able to attach to this, what I'm gonna do is integrate some Technic bricks in the sides here. There we go. And then when we build up the bridge, we'll just make sure to include some Technic connections on it. Now for the actual tower structure, I think I'm gonna build up 2 long arms out of Technic brick, kind of like I did for the Tensegrity. That way we can mount the winch system to the top. This may not be pretty, but it will be functional. Just gotta build one more of those on this side. So to make the winch on this thing so it actually works, I'm gonna use a worm gear. We should be able to feed an axle through somewhere to a motor to get that motorized. Shoot this long axle through. See? Now we take these guys and go through just like that, and we should be able to connect this, that. Okay, that piece goes there. Now we turn this on. This thing spins, and we'll make our winch actually pull something up. Now we just need to attach 2 ropes to this axle, and then once we attach it to the bridge, we will have a functioning drawbridge. The last thing before we connect this all together is just the bridge part, the important part. And then specifically because I want to, and not because they make base plates in that color, we're gonna use green. And once we got our Technic bricks and our base plates in place, we just need to lock down a bunch of bricks on top of it and add some Technic in the middle to make it strong so it doesn't fold. Guys, leave a like if you appreciate how many bricks I've had to place this video. Honestly, it's kind of just normal for the tips of my fingers to have little indentations where the studs are. It's so much fun though. All right, we got the first one done up here. I'm thinking it might work. All I gotta do is duplicate this and we'll test it out. We're gonna put our weights on the inside of this here. So we're gonna do 20 pounds in each. Now with those weights in place, so sus. All we have to do is just use this little remote, and that tells the IR receivers in the winches to unravel it. Nice. Boom, here we go. The next vehicle we have for this is the Porsche convertible. It's convertible now because I had to take the top off to put the weight thing on. We're gonna put Ooblat inside like this. And what I'm gonna do is just put this up slightly on each side. That way when it gets to the middle, I'm hoping the tension will push these down enough to where they'll be flat, but it won't break. And now, you can just clip this underneath the car. For this one, I'm going to start with 2.5 pounds. Here we go. Start winding it up, it'll go across. I think it might be able to make it over the gap, but I'm a little nervous that it just won't line up right. Oh no, it's creaking. It's going down. Come on, you can do it. You can do it, no! It's still going. Wait, it can bring it out of the water. It's pulling it out of the water. Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, half of it's still there. So there's that. There it goes. Dude, this winch is awesome. This is so cool. Hey! All right, we made it across the bridge, but half of it fell, so technically it's a fail. Some would say I'm a failure. This bridge is half successful, you guys. And my favorite car is still alive, which is the best part. Let's build the next one. The next bridge I want to build is a suspension bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge is actually a suspension bridge. It's basically just a long road with pillars in the middle and then reverse arches that are all connected to hold the bridge together. So first I'm gonna build the road with Technic bricks along the sides like we did for the last one. And that's really easy. And then we're gonna build the suspension arches, which we'll have to attach to 2 large pillars. I'm just gonna do what I did for the drawbridge, basically build 2 long pillars that come up out of Technic. What I'm doing here is just building up a shell on the outside of the Technic structure. That way, it'll be a lot stronger. I ran out of red Technic bricks, so. My thought is we just build it down a little bit further and that will attach to the legs, which will just go underneath. So as you can see, this is a little bit wobbly, which is the whole point of suspension bridge. We actually make it so it's not wobbly anymore. What we're gonna do is use a bunch of these Technic lift arms and attach them to the sides to make ropes that will arch around and go to the other side. And we just snap all these together with these little Technic pins. Look, we're getting the triangle shape again. That is how triangles work. Okay, now that we have the arches on there, my thought is we just literally take some lift arms and attach them at different intervals. If we grab some Lego axles, you can actually put these on the inside of these bricks. Now we're getting something going there, check it out. I think the looseness of these Technic bricks is gonna be a problem because these can literally just pull up. So we're gonna need to put another layer of bricks over that and then build it up on the sides. But I think once we get that locked down, it should be a lot stronger. And hopefully when we put it over the pool, it'll actually hold together. All right, and now that we have the structure of our bridge, all we gotta do is build 2 pillars down to the floor under these 2 areas. All right, there we have it. We have 2 little legs on the bottom. So that is strong there, and that is strong there. I don't know how strong it is in the center, but we're gonna test it out and find out. The last and probably heaviest vehicle is the Lego Volkswagen van. So I'm gonna put a little ooblot on the inside. He's chilling. And for this one, I'm going to put 10 pounds because I'm super confident in this bridge. Here we go. Click on the winch. Let's see if it works. This one took a really long time to build, but I'm so confident in the technique. Oh, it's moving. It's crossing the bridge. This is so much fun, literally. Just watching each one of these go across. The suspense on this bridge is crazy. Oh, here we go. It's about to enter its weakest points, almost past the middle of the bridge. Dude, no way. We might have to load more weight on this, actually. You're so close to the end, you could do it. It successfully made it to the other side of the bridge. I'm gonna add 5 more pounds. All right, here we go. That's it, we did it. We've made it across with 15 pounds. I'm really curious if we set the car in the middle, how much it's gonna take to crash this. 10, 15 pounds, 30 pounds, 35 pounds, 45 pounds. Oh. That was it, 45 pounds on this Lego bridge. Look at that, that's so cool. What would you do if you had just crash landed on a deserted island with nothing else to survive except 100,000 Lego bricks? Well, today I'm gonna find out by building a Lego raft and putting it to the test on the open waters to see if I can actually survive. Welcome to the crash site, which is definitely on a deserted island and definitely not in my studio. As you can see, we have a bunch of Legos at our disposal. And I'm only giving myself 3 days to build the best Lego raft that I can before I have to test it out on the water. So I have to think smart and build something that can actually hold my weight.
12 seconds later.
What if we built like a Lego ball, like a giant Lego ball, and then rode it? You think that would float? Probably not. So the plan is to build a log raft out of Lego logs and then tie them together using nothing but Lego rope and the strength of the clutch power to see if we can actually stay afloat. And I'm gonna build most of it over here because I don't wanna do that on the beach. And if you didn't already know this, brown Lego pieces are known to snap very easily. So what I'm gonna do is first build up a long line of Technic beams because those will actually be strong, and then we'll build a core out of bricks around that and cover it in brown as our final layer. So we need structure, how well it fits together, the style, how good it looks floating in the water, and the floatability, if it actually floats in the water. That way the raft actually looks good, because we gotta be floating away in style. And we can just connect a bunch of these guys using Technic pins. And I think I wanna try and make this thing at least 6 feet long, so I gotta make these pretty big. So as you see with our first layer of Technic bricks, it's not very sturdy. To fix that, I'm gonna put 2 layers of plates on top of this, and then build up one more and stack them together. And that way we can actually lock them together vertically using more pins. The trick as well is to make sure your pieces are overlapping. That way we're locking all the parts together. Like we wouldn't wanna put this piece here because it doesn't overlap this connection. So we'd want a smaller one like this. Put this guy right there. Now we lay this guy on top of here. This is a lot sturdier, as you can see. You can also see here I've added a few plates that stick out, and that's because we're gonna need to attach the cross braces later. So I'm gonna add some little Technic pieces just to sturdify these even more. And then one more layer of plates on the top of this to really sandwich it all together. Now that we have the core of the log built up, it brings us to an important point. How do we know what's gonna make our raft actually float? The basic rule is, in order for something to float, it has to weigh less than the volume of water it displaces. And this is actually called buoyancy. To better demonstrate how buoyancy works, I built this little box here, and if we take this solid block of Lego, you can see we can completely fill the space inside the box. And since this box is the same size as this area in here, we know that this is the volume. And this block weighs 4.3 ounces. So now if we just fill up this box with water to the same level as before, and we weigh that, 10 ounces. We now know that Lego is lighter than water, which makes it positively buoyant. Meaning if we drop it into a body of water, it floats. Whereas something like this rock sinks to the bottom. And the reason I knew that would sink is because when I filled up that same box with rocks, the rocks weighed just a little more than the water, which makes them negatively buoyant. Now the question is, if we put enough weight on this guy like this, will we sink to the bottom or will there be enough buoyancy to be able to float on it? Since I don't really want to calculate that, we're just gonna test it out and see if it works, because that's the whole point of this video. For our logs, we're gonna add several layers of bricks to actually bulk them up so they'll be completely solid. And then on the outer layer, we'll use brown and tan to actually make it look like wood. So we just gotta start by putting a bunch of bricks on here. Now we just gotta build up from there. So one of the tricks in building things to be sturdy, or stable, is actually trying to overlap all of the bricks by more than one stud. For example, right here you can see our last layer. Some of the gaps are like here and here. So what we're gonna do is overlap this layer so that each brick covers 2 bricks on the bottom. Kind of going with that running bond pattern all the way across. Another really cool trick when you're locking pieces together and you switch layers, so you go up to the next layer. Since I know for a fact that every one of these layers beneath this uses pieces that are divisible by 2, for example 2x4s and 2x8s, so I know that if I start on one end with a 2x4 and I offset it by 1 stud like this, so it's splitting the gap right there, if we keep going down with these 2x4s like this, we will be covering all the gaps and locking them together. We literally don't have to do anything else. We just keep stacking these down, and as you can see, all of these pieces are now interlocked because we offset it by 1 stud. Kind of a useful tip I learned a while ago. Something that's been really helpful though is having a cross section, and this is basically what I'm building. So you can see I have the gray piece on here. That's the Technic bricks that I already built. But now that we got this ahead of time, we kind of know where the plates and bricks need to go so that everything interlocks. It'll look like a log once we're finished. I just gotta finish this red layer, and then we're gonna add a layer of green, and then we should be able to cover all that up with a layer of brown. We're fixing to get off of our island soon. We're only an hour and a half in so far. So this thing took 2 hours to build, and it weighs about 20 pounds. But now that we have the inside filled with bricks, we can finally build the outside. So literally, just taking a bunch of bricks and covering it to make it look like a log. One more final push, and our big side log will be complete. And then we just have to duplicate this one more time, and then build the cross beams and tie it all together, and we can float away in style. This build is gonna take like 10,000 bricks, I'm telling you right now. Here's the thing about being on an island. There's not a whole lot to do, and we've only been working for 2 hours, so we might just be able to get off the island by the end of the day, theoretically. I'm having to test all these plates before I snap them down, because some of them are just super fragile. It's so sad. I don't know the full story, but I guess somewhere along the way, Lego made a bad batch of brown dye or something, and then they just sent it out in a bunch of pieces and didn't realize until years later it started snapping. I'm pretty sure that's how it went, because some of these are just so fragile, so brittle. Okay, after 4 hours, the first one is finally complete. I'm just gonna duplicate this one more time. Let's go set this up. All right. So here, as you can see, we have our raft base. I'm also really curious how much these weigh. As I was searching the island, I found a scale in a tree. I don't know how it got there. Probably fell out of the plane that I was flying in by myself, so I don't know who brought it, but it wasn't me. That's 20 pounds. Oh my gosh. So our raft is already up to 40 pounds of weight. Now, the next step, we need to connect these Technic beams we've integrated into this and make it a little bit wider so we have room. Then we can cover those in plates and make them look like cut wood. Since we have 9 beams we need to make, my plan is to build the middle 3 a little bit thicker and stronger than the other ones. You just gotta build these across and bridge the gap in the middle. Okay, so I messed up the placement of the connector pieces. As you can see, I had to kind of blend them together right here because the placement just wasn't quite aligning. But other than these 3 middle ones, the outer ones worked perfectly. So now that we got all those in place, as you can see, it's really pretty flimsy. So I'm gonna put this up on a table and build across the 3 major ones in the middle, and we'll cover the other ones with plates and bricks. Check this out, guys. Because we put 2 layers of plates in between our Technic bricks here, we can actually take a Technic lift arm like this and link them together also vertically so they can't separate. That'll just make it a lot stronger, and we'll be able to build bricks around that too to cover that up. I've almost got these last couple cross beams complete, and then we just have to add the ties that go around them. Now we have all our beams going across, we need to build some rope. So I'm gonna use this string, and we're gonna take a bunch of these Lego 1x1 round bricks and just thread them through our string here to make Lego rope. I don't know if this will do anything for stability, but I'll wrap each of our corners with the rope, and it should help to hold it together a little bit. It's like beading. and it takes like 90 years. Guys, we've officially finished the Lego raft. It's time to take it to the beach, test it out, see if it actually works. Let's do this. All right, guys, we are here at the water. We're ready to launch this thing. It's a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful day this whole time that I've been on this island, so we're good to go. We've got our raft. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but I wanna get off this island. I'm gonna take it out a few feet. This is a moment of truth. Will she float? She floats. We are floating on the water, guys. This is great. So let's see how far we can take it out, and then I'll hop on, and hopefully, oh, there's a big rock. We don't wanna bang it against any giant rocks in the water. Oh gosh, the water's cold. Here we go. Hey, it floats. Wait a minute. It actually does. Check it out. We're on the Lego raft, guys. It's floating just enough to keep me afloat. Ice cold. Can I touch the bottom? Oh gosh, I can't touch the bottom. It's not cool. I'm not sinking down, but also the raft's mainly underwater, so. This thing's actually pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if it's really doing me much work. It feels like I'm floating on driftwood, but I guess that's kind of the idea, right? We're gonna see. Well, as long as I can get back and paddle back, I call this a success. I think this is good enough to at least float. I mean, it's better than floating just by yourself, but at the same time, I wouldn't do this again. I can't believe I built this thing entirely out of Lego. This is honestly crazy. So that means this watercraft actually works as a watercraft. I'd say it's a viable solution if you are stranded with, you know, a bunch of Legos and a bunch of free time on your hands, because this took forever. But wow, what a cool experience, you guys. We survived on the Lego raft. This thing actually works. Today, I'm gonna build the most dangerous Lego roller coaster, and we're gonna see if our crash test dummy can make it all the way to the end. Starting with our first obstacle, the drop of death. I bought a bunch of Lego roller coaster tracks for this video, and we're gonna start connecting them up here. The plan is to build a long Lego roller coaster track with a couple different dangerous obstacles that'll start with this big steep drop right here and end in a blaze of glory. So let's start with a little flat bit, and then we'll do a tiny little hill so we can pick up some speed. There's two different types of tracks. One of them is like this, it's flat. The other ones are at a sort of angle. So what I'm gonna do is put the angled ones up top here. Then we just need to figure out a way to kind of tie this in so it doesn't tear the whole thing off and fall to the ground. Now I'm gonna connect together a bunch of these long tracks, and we'll have a 12-foot drop down to the floor. The reason we're doing this at the start is because it's going to add a bunch of speed to our roller coaster so we can get through the first obstacle. All right, now we'll just attach this here and it'll totally work. We rebuild. All right, I got it to work. With our first dangerous obstacle complete, it's time to move on to the second one, and we need to actually build a cart to go down this thing. I'm gonna use this piece, and this is actually made for it, so you just pop in these two little wheels here, and you can see it perfectly fits and kind of locks around the roller coaster track. So if we snap a few of these guys together end to end, we can kind of create a little design on top to make it look like an actual roller coaster. This is gonna be like that one game, Roller Coaster Tycoon. So I finished building up our coaster here, and I made sure to make it as heavy as possible in the front. That way when we're going down the steep hills, it'll have the weight to make it through our obstacles. We can put our little Ooblot figures right inside so they can test it out when we actually finish building. The next obstacle I'm gonna actually put here is a giant loop-the-loop. It's gonna be the biggest Lego loop-the-loop in the world. You may be thinking, no, the Lego loop coaster is the biggest. Wrong. This is gonna be bigger. To make this guy as big as possible, I'm gonna use a bunch of these, connect them on the back with these little flat boat pieces, like this. So I just need to connect a big long line of these. Oh, we can get some good flex with these. Let's go. I'm just gonna connect as many of these as I can and then flex it, and then we'll just see if it stays when I set it down. This is not gonna be safe by any means, you guys. Ah, it's just breaking apart. I get it, you're not happy. I think it's these things that are the problem. We just need to put some square plates on top, and that should fix the breaking problem. Roll this around like this. If we just stick it on a plate, like this guy, we have the world's biggest Lego loop-the-loop. I can attest for its integrity, and that's what makes it dangerous. We'll just have to make it so it doesn't do that. It'll work, okay? So we got our loop-to-loop. Theoretically, we can just connect this right here to the bottom of our ramp. There's like a 20% chance it doesn't even make it past this, but I'm gonna connect a few more pieces of track to the end of the loop-to-loop, and then we can add our next obstacle. Now that we've reached the end here, I'm gonna add this little curve piece. Now that we got our curve right there, we're gonna build our next dangerous obstacle, which is going to be swinging Lego axes. To build the swinging axes, we're gonna need some axes. For that, we should be able to just snap together some of these little axle pieces to make the handle, and then we'll connect it to one of these pieces at the end so it'll actually be able to swing. Nice. For the blade of the axe, I'm gonna build that up using a few slope pieces and Lego plates, and then we'll use some sort of snot brick to actually snap together two halves. Slide an axle through like that. Boom, there we go. We just need a few more of these to swing before we can actually motorize them. Now to make these axes actually swing, we need to create some sort of crankshaft with little notches that'll bring them up and over. I think the best way to do that is with these same pieces we built the handles out of, and just build up a really long shaft with little branches that stick out. And boom. Spin this, swings it around. That looks kind of dangerous. Oh gosh. I think this will work. We just have to add a little stand to it and then put a motor on it so it'll spin. All right, here we got our swinging axes. Oh yeah. This is the hottest track I've seen. There's a chance that the coaster, once it comes down, will just miss all the axes. That'll be cool because it'll make it onto the next part, but it's also gonna be hard to get the coaster to go through these obstacles without getting hit. I'm just gonna build this a little further down the track and then we can add our next obstacle. All right, now that we've got the axes installed and this weird little loop thing I built, we need to build the next dangerous obstacle, but the problem is we are running out of momentum. So what I need to do is design some sort of lift that will actually lift our cart up so the roller coaster can gain some momentum. I'm gonna need to build a couple of these for the track. Now we just need a chain to wrap around this and they'll motorize that. Luckily I have a whole drawer of these little chain links. We just have to hook together like 100. I added this little gear that once hooked up to a motor will spin the chain. Before we can add a motor to this, we just need to build this kind of thing on the rest of the scaffolding. Nice. Looks like we got this thing to work. I built one more to go further down the track, but we need to build our next dangerous obstacle. And for this next one, I really want to build a mechanical shark jaw that will open and close and slam down shut. So it'll have just a little bit of time to actually roll through it. We should be able to build some really simple teeth just by connecting a few of these little slope pieces and a plate, and then adding one of these 1x2 slopes right on top. We just need to build a bunch more of these. What I'm thinking is, if we grab a track, we can have our bit of track going into the mouth, and that'll kind of come out the other side. And we need to figure out some way to make the bottom of the jaw rounded. My first thought is we can just use a couple of these little ball joints like this, snap them together, and then create a sort of rounded shape that way. Now we can line up this bottom part with a bunch of teeth. I know what you're thinking, wow, Riley, that does not look like a shark. We haven't actually built the shark body. We gotta make sure the carts go through first. For the top, we're gonna actually need to build something structural that we can put on some sort of motor to make it slam down with the teeth and actually bite. So I'm gonna connect more teeth to some Technic lift arms, and then I'll create some sort of cam mechanism to actually make it close. And as you can see, we have the motion we want, which is that chomping down motion. Now we gotta actually motorize it. And my thought for that is we just stick a motor with a little cam that will touch this guy and make this chomp. All right, we got a little more work to do, but that's the basic idea. We take our little worm gear assembly and add it right there. This should spin it. Wrong way. There we go. It opens and closes it. Now we're gonna add a little bit more weight to this front part here so that it doesn't do what it's doing. So now we need to somehow make this look like a shark. All right, let's add this to our track. Now it ain't perfect, but it does chomp. I also put some stickers on the front and back of the teeth to kind of hold them on a little better, Lego stickers, so it just kind of looks like cool designs. But we'll see if it actually chomps down on the coaster. I'm gonna put a few more track pieces behind the shark if it actually makes it through. And then we come over to this little turn here, and what I'm gonna do is put another riser. So we got our second riser right here, and this one just broke. It'll be fine, we can fix it. Oh, actually that was a lot easier than I expected. Connect these guys right here. And you may notice this one is just a half riser, so it doesn't come up and then fall down all the way. And that's because the next thing we're gonna build is gonna be like a vertical spiral. To build our spiral, we're gonna use a bunch of these pieces. So I have two types of rails here. The interesting thing is that they go around, but they also sort of slope down, so we can get a really, really long spiral. Literally just connect these together. We should be able to get something that goes super fast, which is dangerous, obviously, for whiplash reasons. All right, now does it work? Ah, it does work. All we need are a bunch of these long plates, and then we'll just stack bricks between them. I hope this works. I like it, guys. It's shaky, it's dangerous, it's exactly what we need. I keep trying to take all these, precautions to make it not fall apart, but no, it's too safe. Hey, there we go. Okay. So the carts will come all the way up this guy and then spiral down, and I think that's gonna slow it down quite a bit. So I'm gonna build one more thing before the final obstacle to give it some more momentum. So for that, we're going to build a roller coaster accelerator. I'm thinking the best way to do that is by using tires and spinning them super fast, because if we put these at just the right distance apart, and we spin both of them, we can hopefully shoot this down the track. Okay, so we got the proof of concept there. We're just gonna duplicate this a few more times, and then it'll really shoot it fast. And now, you can see we've set up sort of a jump right here. It's kind of a weenie jump, but we're gonna put this through the next obstacle. I wanted to make the very last obstacle the best one of them all, so I reached out to the king of Lego roller coasters, Half Asleep Chris on YouTube. He's made like super long roller coasters and train tracks out of Lego in his house that go through the whole thing. They're super cool. Check out a couple of those in the description. I've linked his videos, they're awesome. But he says for the final obstacle, I should build...
Hey Riley, for the final obstacle of your roller coaster, I'm not sure if it's even possible, but I would love for you to try and build a ring of fire. Good luck though, it's probably gonna melt.
Well, it looks like we're building a ring of fire for this thing. I don't know how we're gonna do that. Here is exactly how we're gonna do it. Okay guys, actually though, I can't tell you how I built it. That would be extremely irresponsible. Do not do this at home. I'm taking all the precautions. I got fire extinguishers, I got the fire department on call, and so do you all the time, by the way. Just enjoy watching me do it, okay? Here it is, the final obstacle, the ring of fire. The cool thing about it is once we light it on fire, we can fill this bin up with water and then just drown it out like that once the coaster goes through. So, you know, safety features. Dang it, I added another safety feature. What is wrong with me? In all seriousness though, this roller coaster is complete and it's finally time to test it out. Or so I thought. I really wanted to put this little mini camera on the cart, but every time it made it down the loop, it would just break the entire thing because it was way too heavy. So after a few failures, oh, it made it! Oh no! I decided to take a step back and fix everything that was breaking before trying it again without the camera. But at least the footage I did get was cool. All right, 3, 2, 1. After a couple unsuccessful tests, I fixed most of the core issues. Starting right up here at the top, I added a simple servo motor, and if we take our little remote control, we can actually actuate it like this, and it'll release the carts. I've also added some really strong supports to our loop-to-loop here, because that failed like almost every time. All right, I'm gonna add the dummies to the track. Here we got this little stopper in place, so they shouldn't go down yet. Here we go. Basically the goal is to see how far the little crash test dummies can make it through the course and how many obstacles they'll hit. I'm gonna hit this button in 3, 2, 1. There they go. Oh, they're going. Oh, they made it. No way, they made it through the axes. What? Okay, here we go. Oh no. Oh no. They almost made it if the timing was just a little bit better. Take 2. This little release button actually works really well. They're all on. All right, here we go. Release. Oh no. I'm telling you, if this was a real roller coaster, it'd be bad. Test 3. I got a feeling it's gonna just go all the way through and be really cool. Go. Oh, made it. Oh, they made it through. They made it through. Let's go. Oh, what will the timing be like? Come on. No way! No way. All right, light. The ring of fire is on. Here we go. Here it goes. There we go. Come on. Yay! All right, let's just put that out. That was really cool. I can't believe it made it all the way through. Let's go. Thank you, God. It only took like 14 tries, but they made it through the ring of fire, and that was cool. Today, I'm gonna test crazy Lego vehicles in a custom-built wind tunnel to see which shapes are the most aerodynamic. If you guys didn't know, aerodynamics is the study of how gases, like air, can flow around and interact with moving objects. It's the reason why F1 cars and airplane wings have their own distinguished shapes, with car companies globally spending tens of billions every year researching the most efficient ways to reduce drag and increase fuel efficiency in their vehicles. All with the exception of one, the biggest tire manufacturer in the world, having released thousands of car models to date, the Lego company. So not only are we gonna build 5 custom cars with different shapes to test their effectiveness, but we're also going to put 10 Lego car sets to the test to see if Lego puts any thought into aerodynamics at all, or if they're just built for looks. To start, we're gonna need a way to visually see air moving around our vehicles so we can rate them effectively. Usher in the wind tunnel. Invented in 1871 by Frank Wenham, the wind tunnel was an enclosed box that allowed high pressure air to flow through from one end to the other, allowing researchers to finally see the aerodynamics of their vehicles without testing them. And with the added benefit of modern technology, we can include a fog machine in ours so we can actually see the air flow. I hope that doesn't trigger the, uh-oh. So the first step is to lay out a base using 16 by 16 plates. I'm gonna create some angled walls using these little Technic pieces. So let's create a bunch of these braces and put them all the way around the plates. Then we'll just lay down a bunch of Technic bricks on the bottom to hold this together so it's not floppy. And boom, this thing should be pretty sturdy. Look at that. Can you see our wind tunnel yet? This is gonna be so cool. And now we just gotta add a ton of these little blue pins to lock together all those Technic bricks, and we'll finish up the top part of the frame. Running out of blue pins. There we go. Now we gotta build up some vertical pillars that come up from here about this high. There's just one more thing I'm adding to the frame of this, and that's because it does that. Which is not ideal when, we need this to be structurally sound. Simple way to fix this is just to introduce some triangle shapes. So I'm adding a few of these lift arms in here to kind of cross over and connect. And once we do that, you can see just how sturdy this side already is. Now that we've got the frame for this thing built up, the next step is to build a really strong fan so we can actually push air through our wind tunnel. And for that, we're gonna use these Lego fan blade pieces, and we just gotta arrange these in a fan shape. I'm gonna snap on 2 of these Technic pieces, and then if we connect a few of these little pieces, we should be able to snap on our propellers. Check it out. We're gonna need to connect a few motors together so that we'll have enough power to actually spin this really fast. And to make this thing spin as fast as possible, we're gonna implement what's called a gear ratio, which essentially means if we connect a smaller and larger gear together, like this, and we drive the larger gear, the small one is gonna rotate a lot faster. So it should give us the speed we need. So let's connect these guys together and attach some large gears to them, and then we'll stick our small gear right here through the center. Let's see how fast this goes. Safety first, guys. Oh, shoot. That's why we have eye protection. We need to lock all of these pieces together so they don't fly off like that. See, I kind of interlocked it all together. And now, that is breezy, dude. Oh gosh. Well, that's the suction. Wow, that's actually impressive. You can see we can put our fan on one side, and that'll blow air through this way. So we basically just need to cover all these walls with plates, and we'll add some cool designs to it later. And the nice thing is, because we've used Technic bricks on the outside of this, we now have studs to add our plates, like that. Okay, so we have all the plates on the outside of the wind tunnel. The next thing I'm gonna do is build up a road right here with a bunch of bricks so I can get it level with this lip here. Boom, I didn't forget to record. So we essentially just need to figure out a way to mount this in here behind some sort of wall so you can't see it. I think the best way to do that is just to take our Technic connections we have on these motors and try and build something that goes across and attaches to these Technic bricks in here. Connect a few of these. Then we can put this guy right there. Just go here. Let's see if this works. I just gotta add a little bit of something so this stops wiggling around, give it a little bit more stability, but we have our fan mounted inside the wind tunnel. Now that we got our fan all sturdied up, we need to add the fog mechanism that's gonna go on this side. This little portable guy here is awesome because all you have to do is push one button and it makes fog. Except we want little pinpoints of fog so we can actually see layers of air. So my plan is to take a few of these pneumatic tubes that Lego makes and glue them into this little end piece here so it'll force the fog through them. Fun fact about me, guys, did you know I've been on the carnivore diet for over 2 months? So literally every day my meals consist of steak, eggs, lots of butter, and salt. In other news, I've had 5 meals and over 4,000 calories today and still feel hungry. Oh, my tube came out. All right, forget the whole hot glue idea. I just discovered something completely better. We have this little wheel that has 6 little inlets, which means we can attach our pneumatics. And then we take this Lego tire that's supposed to fit but doesn't, and put it just on the end, stick this on the top of this, and boom! Look, it only comes out of there. Just need a few more tubes for the top. That thing should be spewing. Perfect, now they're all gone. That is exactly what we need. So I'm gonna build the fog machine into a rack that we can actually slide in and out of the wind tunnel. And then on one side of this rack, I'm going to build up a wall using a bunch of these long Technic bricks. And because they have these little holes, it's actually going to directionalize the airflow. And we can take each of our little tubes and put it in a specific hole to test different things. Now we can plug in all our pneumatic tubes. All right, that's what we want. Now we just gotta mount this in here. This part should be done.
Now we can slide this guy in the back here, and now we just gotta connect our little button to the outside so we can access it.
So to do that, I'm just gonna add a long axle that goes through the wall, and that should press the button. Perfect.
So now that we have the fog machine installed and a way to turn it on and off,
We need to just install one more mechanism to this before it'll be fully functional.
and that mechanism is going to be this little tiny food scale. My plan is to put this on the inside underneath the road, and since this one's actually wireless, we'll be able to see how much weight is being lifted off of the car by installing this over here. And that'll wirely connect to the scale underneath the road, which I've just simply built up out of a few plates and Technic pieces on the bottom to make it strong.
All we gotta do now is just finish the details on the outside and build the glass window that's going to go on the front of this.
Look at that. So now that we have all the mechanics done, all we have to do is just add some exterior details on the outside.
And then some lights on the inside to make it look really cool. We can finally test it out. After 10 hours of work, I finally completed the Lego wind tunnel. You can see on this side we have the giant fan, which we can flick on with this switch here, and that will activate our wind tunnel. And now that we got this built up, we can finally test some Lego cars. So as you see, we have quite a few cars to test. Let's start with the Ferrari F40. It's gonna take me a while to build all these, but this is gonna be fun.
And there we have the Ferrari F40. This thing is absolutely beautiful.
Just some of the connections on these cars are really, really interesting. Let's test this out and see how aerodynamic it really is. All we gotta do is push this button and it should start kicking out fog. Dude, look at that. That is so sick. Wow, yeah, okay. The F40 is very aerodynamic. You can even see it kind of going through the rear wing there, which is really cool. So there's a few different forces at work here. First, we have drag. Drag is the force that's acting in the opposite direction of our object moving through the air. So to design a vehicle to move as fast as possible, we want to decrease the drag by getting the air to move out of the way or over and around our vehicle as easily as possible. There's also lift, which is when the pressure underneath the vehicle exceeds that of the pressure on top of our vehicle, causing it to flip. In order to test lift, we're gonna actually use a leaf blower and blow it through this side so we can take out our fog machine. We just have this guy, which has 2 pins. These will actually go right into those little holes right there. And now, as you can see, if we push this down, we have a reading. For the lift test, it's a pass-fail. If the scale drops under its original number, we know we're achieving lift, and we don't want that. And if the number on the scale increases, we know we've achieved what's called downforce, which is the byproduct of the air moving over the vehicle, pushing it down to the ground. We're getting about 10 points of downforce on the scale, which is great. I'd give this one a 10 out of 10, but let's build up the rest of the car sets so we can test them out. Next up, we got the McLaren Elva, the Nissan Skyline GTR. We have the Ferrari SF24. This is a Formula 1 car, even have prints on the tires. Next up, we have the Ford Mustang, the Toyota Supra, a classic for car lovers everywhere, the Koenigsegg Jesko, the Lamborghini V12 Vision. This one is super sick. Like, what the? It's upside down. That's what the actual car looks like? The next car we have is McLaren Senna, and this is a larger F1 car. It's still minifigure scale, but this one is why we built the wind tunnel so big. Just look at it. It even has working steering if you turn the wheel in here. I'm excited to see how the shapes actually perform in the wind tunnel since it's so large. Next up, we got the McLaren Elva. Guys, before we test out the next one, make sure you subscribe so you can become a member of the Brick Science Stud Army. That way you won't miss any of our future videos. Let's test this out. Pop that on. Dude, look at that. It's got like those sunken doors on the sides. I feel like that's really gonna help with the airflow around the sides of the car. You can even see it going underneath the car, below the under tray, and through that little rear diffuser right there. If we turn the fan off, what happens? Does it just completely fog up? Turn it back on. I'd say the McLaren Elva is definitely aerodynamic. I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. Let's test the lift of this one. It went down by like at least 10 points. Unfortunately, I gotta say this one fails the lift test. Next up, we have the Nissan Skyline. It's got a little wing on the back here. It's also got a little air intake in the front. However, the Lego air intake doesn't actually have holes, so it might just stop the car up. We'll start by filling it with fog, and boom. Look at the air just flowing right over the top. So you can kind of see how it's cutting through the fog there. What if we angled the rear wing? What will that do? Wow. You know, for some reason, I want to give the Skyline a 10 out of 10 for the aerodynamic test. Let's see how this one does. Our Skyline does not pass the lift test. I don't know, it really wanted to go. Next up, we got our F1 car. I'm gonna put our little Ooblot crash test dummy in here. Here we go. Push our little button here. Like, this is working exactly how it's supposed to. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, because, you know, F1 cars are going a little bit faster than that. You can definitely see the air going around that rear wing and over it, so it's working good. And I also want to mention the under tray on this car is extremely well designed. So you can see here, there's no space for that air underneath, which is supposed to increase the grip on the road. Looks like we got 134 to start. Let's bump this up slowly. Wow, we're getting a lot of downforce. 134, 150, 160. That's pretty good. We're getting about 10 to 15 points of downforce. I was expecting this one to kind of fly up just because it's so thin, but this one definitely passes. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Also, it's really beautifully designed, so great job, Lego. Next up, we have the beautiful Ford Mustang. This one I'm excited to see. It's not as aerodynamic or like angular as the other cars, but ooh, look at that. You can totally see how the air is just going right over the front of the hood and then actually cutting underneath the spoiler. The cool thing is if we control our fan speed with this guy, we can actually simulate, by filling it with fog, our car accelerating. So there we are, it stopped, and now it accelerates, and that is the air moving around the car. Oh, that is so cool. Wow. We got about 179 at the highest there, and no lift at all on this one, so I'd say the Ford Mustang performs really well. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Next up, the Toyota Supra, a very popular car. Here we go. Ooh, yeah, look at that. You can see it flying over the back of the spoiler as well, so I feel like this one is shaped very aerodynamically. Also want to mention, I don't see a whole lot going underneath the vehicle and exiting at the back. And if we pull this guy out, you can see the under tray on this car is super flat with this front. So if we put this on a flat surface, you barely have any clearance, which probably isn't a good thing on bumpy roads, but it's a Lego car. Let's do the lift test on the Supra. Yeah, there we go. Down. Toyota Supra passes. The next car up we have is the Tensegrity Jesco. This thing's so cool. Yeah, I'm so excited loading each one of these in here because I want to see how well it's gonna do. Hey, that's pretty aerodynamic. Ooh, and check out that rear wing. You can totally see the air moving back there. It seems like at the front, the bumper is kind of trapping a bit of that air. If we bring up the speed, I wonder if that'll get better. Not really. It is going over the top, which is what we want. That's really, really cool. We got 130. Slowly bring this up. 133, 135. Whoa! Whoa! We just got about 65 points. That is some amazing downforce. So far, this is the best performing Lego set for downforce. I think it's because the air was getting caught in this little piece right here, which is like the little air intake on the front, and it was just pushing it down. Wow, that is really good. That definitely passes. This is the Lamborghini V12 Vision. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm genuinely curious to see how all these angles and curves will do against wind. So we're gonna fill the room with fog, and then we're gonna simulate a acceleration. Here we go. Turn the fan on. And boom. This is one of the most aerodynamic cars I think we've seen. It's really hard to see from this angle too, but it's actually flowing through the hood of the car because there's some holes in it. That's sick. Yeah, this one's just cutting through the air like butter. There we go. 112, 116. Whoa, 140. About 130, that's about 20 points, which is really quite good. Really cool car design, and on top of that, it's like really aerodynamic. 10 out of 10. Guys, I just had an idea. What if we built a wind tunnel, but for planes? And we could actually test the aerodynamics of like jets and planes. If you guys think that'd be cool, comment down below. I'd have to rebuild this and make a completely different one, but I think it'd be cool. I wanna give a little bit of comparison with this car, so we have the Mercedes G-Wagon. This is shaped like a brick with a sloped hood. Will it work? It doesn't seem to be having a problem with it, honestly. Look what's happening at the very rear of the vehicle. The air is kind of gathering there, and that's creating what's called dirty air, which is basically where the air gets disrupted and moves around all funky, kind of like this. It's like creating like little wavy patterns, and apparently that's a lot harder to drive through. I think this one might just blow away back into the jet. But let's see. Whoa, 225. That's like the heaviest one so far. Here we go. 230. Not bad. Whoa. That's over 110 points. Oh, it's gone. I think that was the best performing one still. Here we have an interesting one. This is the Batmobile. I think the Batmobile is gonna go pretty well because it's designed to go fast, to stop crime. Let's start with the acceleration test. Ooh, there we go. Wow, this is kind of weird. I'm not sure. This one just looks a lot different than the others. It's like the air's flowing around it quite a bit differently, which is strange. I can see that the back two wings are cutting through the fog, which is kind of cool, but not too impressed. Whoa! We're actually getting quite a bit of downforce on this one. So the Batmobile definitely passes the lift test. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have the large Formula One car, the McLaren Senna. This one I'm excited for. Fill her up with our fog, and 3, 2, 1, accelerate. That was so cool. Already, I'm gonna say this one is a 10 out of 10. You can really tell, it's weird. It's like a visual that you can just tell it's cutting through the air better than other cars. You can see the front wing on this one is really designed well because it is cutting through the air quite nicely. Straight across, 480, 5. Whoa. All right, that's 120. I find it really cool that even if I blow it right underneath the car, it's still designed so well that it doesn't achieve lift. I definitely give this car a 10 out of 10. So it turns out LEGO does design their cars to be somewhat aerodynamic. They all seem to utilize different common shapes like triangles and wedges combined together in different angles to make them fast and reduce the drag on the vehicles. So I want to take those individual shapes and see if we can turn those into cars themselves, just to see which ones will perform the best. For this first custom car, let's just build a triangle and add some wheels to it. This is like the cheese wedge of cars. And then what if we did like a tube-shaped car? So it's got a big hole in the middle for all the air to pass through, but it's shaped like a circle. And it actually can hold a minifigure on the inside. I also want to try building a teardrop, so sort of like an airfoil on an airplane. It looks like the boat from SpongeBob. We could also do one that's like just a circle, but like horizontal, so the air will kind of flow around the sides. Look, it's like a little drift car. What if we built up a rocket car? That might be pretty cool. All right, there we have our rocket. Let's see how aerodynamic it is. I'm interested to see how this one's gonna react to the fog. Seems to be working pretty well. A lot of the air is just going right underneath, right? But yeah, that's definitely an aerodynamic shape for sure. However, I don't know how fast this is gonna be because it's adding a lot of downforce because of such a steep angle. Started off slow. Wow, it's already up. About 60, 70 points, that one definitely passes the lift test. So for aerodynamics, I'd give this one a 10 out of 10. Still though, you're driving around a triangle, I don't think it's the best car design. Here we have our airfoil car. As you can see, it's completely symmetrical with the top and bottom being the same. And this is based off an aircraft's airfoil, which essentially is just a cross section of the wing. It's pretty big, it might just blow away. Accelerate. Oh yeah. I mean, it looks just like an airfoil. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. I feel like this one just wouldn't work very well as a car, honestly. The air's definitely flowing around it for sure, but if you just have a little wind gust, the car will just flip over. Let's do the lift test though and see if that's actually accurate. Uh-oh. That's not good. That one's a fail too, unfortunately. Don't design your car like an airfoil. You don't want it to fly. That seems kind of obvious. We probably didn't have to test that. I'd give the airfoil a 3 out of 10. Here we have our rocket car, which sort of made sense as an idea, but not for aerodynamics because there's a rocket engine on the back. And accelerate. Ooh. I can see it going around the top and the bottom of the rocket, so I think it's working pretty well. However, again with the symmetry, that's not the most ideal thing if you're going for speed. This isn't an aircraft. You want to actually have traction on the ground. I'd give the rocket car a 5 out of 10. This here is probably my favorite car I've designed, the tube-shaped car. The idea with this one is the air will just go straight through. It's bound to be a very windy ride. The speed of that air is gonna be blasting at the guy's face, so. take off. Whoa, that's sick. Look at that, it's just flowing right through. But again, if you have just the wrong angle of air, it could actually lift up the top of that tube and you'd go flying. Oh, that's not good. Oh no. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, it's gone. If you were in a car driving like this and then you flipped over, that's like a double whammy. So the tube car is a fail. I'm gonna call this one like the SpongeBob car. The idea for this is that the air would just go right around the sides and kind of bounce off, but it's also perfectly flat, unlike a regular saucer. I like to fill it up first and then take off, because it just looks sick. It looks like the car is moving because the atmosphere stays in the same place. But okay, yeah, so for this one, it's definitely going around the edges. It's also catching a lot of it underneath. I think it's actually coming up through the cabin. The windscreen's also not bad. That's a very aerodynamic windscreen. I'd give this one probably the lowest of the video, 3 out of 10. Let's see the lift test here. 139, 146. 150. Oof. Well, on that note, now we know what shapes not to use for Lego cars. I just bought a bunch of Lego Technic construction sets, and today I want to see if I can do real construction with them by building a Lego house in this tiny construction site. But first, we got to build some vehicles, so let's go do that. Let's start with these. The first set we're gonna build is the motorized excavator. This thing has 1,100 pieces and is one of the smaller sets, surprisingly, we're gonna be building today. So let's start with bag number 1. It literally says don't use with real sand. It also says not to use outside. We're literally breaking every rule in the book here. And there we have it. The motorized excavator is complete and we can use it. And we also have the articulated hauler. This thing is pretty huge and I think this will help us a lot. This thing goes right here. This connects right there. Man, this thing's gonna go pretty fast, bro. Bam! This is remote control, as you can see. I think this one should give us a little bit more power. Let's test it out. The goal for this video is to build a Lego house with a pool in a scaled construction site using Lego Technic construction vehicles, because I've always wondered if they can do the stuff that the real vehicles can. But before we can actually build a Lego house, we need to excavate and flatten out the area. So, this is what it looks like. We have 2 piles of dirt on top. Now, we can actually start using the Technic vehicles we've built. So you can see here, I turn this on. I gotta get used to the controls of each one of these specifically. Having a little bit of a hard time making up this hill here, but once we do, we can lower this and try and push some of this dirt, I guess. Let's see. Well, this one's kind of a no-go. Let's try the other one. Nice, and then bring this around. Hey, look at that. Wow. So far, this one is pretty terrible. None of these are really rated for use with real dirt. It also says you shouldn't do that, but I'm doing that to test if you actually can. And dump the dirt over there. All right, so I've been playing with these two for just a little while. This one does not go very fast. This one is just completely terrible with the gear shifter. We've been able to move approximately, like this is all we've been able to move from that pile right there. I think we need a little bit more power. Luckily, I planned for this, so let's go build some better ones. These 4 sets should give us a lot more power and hopefully let us move a lot more dirt. These are all motorized and they should be pretty powerful. Let's start with the bucket wheel excavator, 3,929 pieces. Look at how big this box is. Awesome. I feel like a real constructionist. All right, guys, we just finished the Lego bucket excavator. Man, that took me like a while. We also have the little truck here that this dumps into, so that's cool. Let's build a few more. This is the articulated hauler, the Cat D11 bulldozer. This is gonna take a while to build. Time for treads. We should be able to haul some serious dirt with these. I'm gonna start with the Cat D11. Should be pretty strong. This one's pretty cool. You can go forward and backwards. You can also turn when one tread only goes and the other one stays the same. And then for the front scoop, it has two different functions. This one raises it up and lowers it down using those little actuators right there. And then this one actually tips it, and that will tip it up and down. So altogether for functionality on this thing, it's working pretty well. See if we can flatten out the landscape a little bit. We're trying to make a nice flat place for the house. These treads keep snapping, you guys. Hey, it's flattening out the area though. I'll give it that. This is working out, guys. This one's working pretty well. You can see we flattened the first hill, which is good. We still have that hill over there. So let's use the bucket excavator and see how well that one can do. So you can see here there's a gearbox on top. I have a battery box, which you turn on, and then you can get it to do things by simply turning on the gearbox. That'll come up here eventually. Wow, this thing is not working at all. What the heck? This thing isn't running. I don't understand. Okay, so quick update. The bucket wheel excavator is not going to work for this. These two things are gears that are specifically designed so that they can spin around the axle if too much torque is going through. And that's preventing this thing from actually working. So that's kind of a fail on that one. But luckily we still have some other things that should work to move this dirt pile right here. All right, let's see what this can do. Dude, this thing is a beast. Look at this. Oh man, this is gonna work so well. I can see it. Forward. Look at that. Oh my gosh, this one is working so much better than the other ones. Dude, we might even be able to get a full scoop of dirt. Move it around to here. Check it out. It opens the bucket and it dumps the dirt. Oh, let's go. All right, I'm gonna try and move this pile now. I think we can do it with this. So it's pretty fun to control. It's a little difficult from the outside. It's hard to get used to the controls, to be honest. I've never used this model before. Oh, the tread came off. Once we move that pile and flatten it out a little bit more, we can move on to our next step. Okay, so we have sort of, as you can see, made the pile flat-ish. This is actually going to be our pool. So it is a Lego, official Lego element. Open it up, we're gonna bury this so the pool will be that big. And then we're gonna put the house right there. So this will go right here. This will go right on top of concrete. We're gonna actually pour real concrete. I'm not sure how deep we need the foundation to be, but we do have this one and this one works okay. So I'm gonna try and get as far as I can with this. If we can't, we'll just dig it by hand. On the bright side, now is a fantastic chance to use our new, whatever this is. Put it into drive, and then, yeah, it's too heavy. So, not made for real dirt, which makes sense, but we're gonna use it anyway. So we got our area for our pool right here. Foundation for the house is gonna go here. The next step is to pour a foundation using concrete. This sounds like a bad idea, but I'm gonna go with it. None of this is intended for real construction purposes.
So we're gonna just kind of hope for the best.
Here is our Lego concrete truck. Let's go mix up some concrete. So, the plan, we're gonna mix cement in this bucket and then we're gonna funnel it into this thing. We also have our motor for the cement truck. There we go. We'll see how well that works. We can now pour it. All right, we got concrete in. Let's see if this works. Moment of truth. Come on now. Not powerful enough. Ah, there we go. Look at that. Oh no. Ah man. We're just gonna pour the rest of this manually. Don't put real concrete into a Lego concrete truck. It does not work as you thought. But we got the concrete poured. Once this cures, we can come back and put a base plate on top and then install a Lego house on top of that. But first, we have to actually build a Lego house. Basically, since we poured the foundation, we're gonna put this Lego base plate on top of it, which is 48 studs by 48 studs wide. And on top of this, we're gonna put the pieces of the house in place. They're gonna be built separately. We're gonna have 4 walls and a roof. I wanna use this moment to remind you, I know nothing about construction or houses. build up the first wall here. On the top of this, we added some 2x4s, and those will help it snap into the other walls when we lower it down with the crane and lock everything together. So there's the front wall. Now we gotta build 3 more. All right, so we have 4 pieces of a house which connect and go together. We also have 2 roof pieces, so the next thing we need to do is design a roof. Basically, it'll just sit on both sides of this really simply. It's just gonna be made of plates. Now, when we lock it together, we just add plates everywhere. Look at that! Man, I'm so proud. All right, now we just gotta make another one of these. All right, so we've dry fit together our house. I'm not gonna show you this because I want it to be a surprise. Now we can take this part, take it to the construction site, but first we need to build some Lego Technic sets to actually put this into place. These are the Lego Technic sets we're gonna actually use to put the house in place and move it. I'm gonna send a truck and a crane off to my friend Christian, who is graciously going to build it for me. Let's start with the cranes. This thing's huge. This is the motor, and it goes right into those 2 holes, which are there and there. So, theoretically, that's pretty easy. And now we have a functioning motor. And you can see when that turns, the wheels turn. So now we have a motor. This thing is actually way bigger than I thought it would be. So let's see what is next. All right, guys, it is time to finally finish this house. This is the rough terrain crane. It is absolutely awesome. The first step to building a house is getting the pieces onto the crane. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this big crane here and we're gonna rotate it over. The controls for this thing are honestly my favorite out of all the builds we've done, just because it's so easy and it actually works.
We turn this on. We can also rotate the entire base, and this is super cool. There's a knob right here. It lets us rotate it that way, so we'll rotate it, swing it over, and then we can extend the arm up. Switch that to lower. This arm will now lower, and we can actually get it pretty close. Stop. Connect this and that. We gotta put down these things, which basically hold it in place. Right here, there's a switch. Look at that thing lifting up. Let's go. Now we just gotta move the first wall into place right there. Here we go. I'm gonna really draw the arm a little bit so it has a little bit more torque. Let's pull up the string here. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, there we go. Yes, okay, now we can extend the arm. Rotate this, bring the whole crane around. Let's go. We want to bring this down. Check it out, that is so cool. Let's go, guys. We got the first part of the house in place. Let's move these other 3 walls and snap them into place. Bring her up. Oh, no one. Oh yeah. These down. It's gonna be perfect or what? Let's go. Snap it into place. All right. We got the last wall of the house before we move to the roof here. Nice. All right, we got the final wall in place. Now we gotta bring in the roof, and we're gonna use a different crane for that, test that one out. Here we have the Mac Anthem semi-truck. You can see there, it is carrying the 2 roof pieces over to our construction site. We also have the Technic crane Mark II. It's almost as big as the red one. Now if we just bring the truck up the hill, unlatch it, and now we have our roof pieces. Now let's actually move them onto the house and finish it. That is so cool, look at that. That is so cool. This thing here is slipping. This one's definitely not as strong as the other one is. Put this in place. Now, all we gotta do is put the roof on. Now for the other one. Bring it up. Line it up. These controls are amazing, by the way. And bring it up. Oh gosh, moth in my pants. That scared me. Final piece of the puzzle. All right, guys, the last and final thing we have to do is install the pool. Oh yeah, come on now. Come on now.
Hey, it's off the ground, you guys. Check that out. Now we just gotta rotate it into place. And we have our pool installed. Now all we gotta do is do some cool groundwork, clean up, do some landscaping, and this thing will be like 100% complete. Let's get the digger and see what we can do real quick. Okay, so that's a bust. We're just gonna shovel the rest of the dirt in here. We don't have all night. All right, guys, this is the final reveal. Here we go. I'm so excited. Check this thing out. That is so cool. We got a diving board and 2 lounge chairs right there. 2 just beautiful trees in the front. Look at those things. Little palm tree by the pool. And we built this using a lot of Lego construction sets. So I think the answer is, yes, you can do real construction using Lego construction sets, but you probably shouldn't because it's a lot of work. Huge thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.